Am I the a-hole for accidentally exposing my husband's childhood trauma to my mother-in-law? Hello? 33. Female here and mom to a 2-year-old little girl. I honestly feel terrible about this situation and could use some input. I met my husband in high school and we dated for a few years, broke up, and got back together shortly after college. My husband was a college athlete and doesn't like showing weakness or talking about his feelings much. He's the type of guy who will say he's fine when he has a fever and is puking. About a year after we got married, we went with his parents, 2 older brothers, and their wives on a vacation to an island they used to visit when they were kids. I noticed right away that my husband wasn't himself at all. He wasn't really engaged in any of the conversations, and just seemed like his was mentally somewhere else for the entire trip. Towards the end of the vacation, I asked if everything was okay, and he told me he was having a hard time because being back there was bringing up a lot of old memories. I asked what he meant, and he told me a family friend who they used to vacation with molested him several times during his childhood. I was shocked, because he'd never mentioned it to me before, and I didn't see any signs. He said he'd never told anyone, including his parents, because it wasn't a big deal, and he didn't want anyone to worry about him. The stuff he described sounded very serious to me, so I dragged him to therapy, but he quit after a few sessions because he got busy. We've spoken about it a few times since, and he's always emotional when it comes up. But instead of focusing on his feelings and how it impacted him, he always talks about how he wouldn't be able to cope if something like that ever happened to me or our daughter. It honestly breaks my heart to know that he went through that, and I would honestly probably kill the guy if I ever saw him. A few nights ago, we were having dinner with his mom and dad. I was in the backyard having a glass of wine with my mother-in-law when she started talking about the family friend and how they were thinking about having him and his family for Christmas this year. I'm not good at hiding my emotions at all, and I'm pretty sure I looked like I'd been punched in the gut. My mother-in-law asked what was wrong, and I said I'd prefer if she didn't. My mother-in-law was confused, since I'd only met the family friend a few times in high school briefly. She asked if there was a problem, and I just reiterated that it probably wasn't the best idea. My mother-in-law later called my husband and said I looked like I was going to cry when she mentioned the family friend and asked if I had a problem with him. I guess she kept pressing him, and my husband told her that the family friend had been inappropriate with him when he was a child. My in-laws were at our house that day, and my husband told them everything. His parents were obviously both crushed and wanted nothing to do with the friend now. His mom gave me a big hug and thanked me for looking out for him, but I didn't really feel like I'd done that. My husband isn't too happy with me right now. He said that I'm the only person he's ever told and he trusted me to keep it private. I've apologized and explained that I didn't mean to expose him. I was just shocked when my mother-in-law brought up the family friend, who they haven't seen in years, and my first instinct was to keep my husband and daughter away from him. My husband says he understands that it was an accident and forgives me, but I can tell he's still upset with me. I honestly feel like the worst person in the world. Any advice, and am I the a-hole?